This video is brought to you by SoccerPro.com. Be sure to visit SoccerPro.com for all the latest soccer gear at everyday low prices with no membership fees. Don't forget to use coupon code SR4U at checkout for $10 off a $75 purchase, plus free shipping within the US. Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you a comparison video of the entire CTR360 line from Nike. From left to right, I have the Maestri 3, the Trequartista 3, and the Libretto 3, with the left side being the high-end shoe and the right side being the low-end shoe. But before I get to the comparison video of these three shoes, just keep in mind I already have the full written reviews up for the CTR360 Maestri 3, as well as the Trequartista 3 up on my website, SoccerReviewsForYou.com, with the Libretto 3 review that is coming very, very soon. So if you do want to check out the full written reviews, that's really where you're going to get the high-end details as to how these shoes fit, feel, and perform. So if you haven't gone and read those reviews already, I highly recommend you do so. You'll be able to find links to all three review pages in the description, so go ahead and check those out. But as far as the CTR360 line is concerned, it's kind of, I want to say one of the first, not the first, but one of the first marketed as control boots on the market. And it really, I don't want to say revolutionized how we look at soccer shoes now, but for me it really revolutionized what we were capable of in terms of synthetic leathers. This with the material being Kangalite that the CTR360 line really brought to the public. And this Kangalite material has kind of been refined over the last three models, with this CTR360 Maestri 3 having by far the best version of the Kangalite material. And essentially what it is a synthetic kangaroo leather. They're completely synthetic, so no maintenance is required, no stretching, less weight, less water absorption, and they don't stretch very much either. So it's kind of that best of both worlds material, and for me it's probably the best synthetic currently on the market, especially if you're looking for that leather feel from a synthetic boot. But as far as the uppers on these three shoes are concerned, I'll get to the Maestri 3 right now. And this is the what I like to call Kangalite 2.0. It is the newest version of the Kangalite upper, completely different from what we've seen on the CTR360 Maestri 1 and 2. This one has that natural padding of leather that before I just don't think that any other synthetic on the market had. And if you know what I'm talking about when I say natural padding of leather, if you've ever worn a shoe like a Copa or even a Tiempo Legend, something that has just a really nice quality leather, you know that it has that natural cushion on the ball that you really can't explain, but it's what makes the shoe so nice to feel. Gives the shoe such a nice feel on the ball. And this Kangalite, while it doesn't have the exact feel, it has something very, very close, which is very impressive to come out of a synthetic. That natural padding is just so hard to replicate, and this is the first synthetic shoe that I've really seen that has been able to do that. But as other kind of features that you get on the Maestri 3 is the all conditions control coating. You see ACC at the back here, and essentially that is a clear coating on the shoe where the concept is to provide the same amount of grip on the ball in dry as well as wet conditions. And while I have tested this out and it works to an extent, but it's not something that's going to drastically improve your control in either dry or wet conditions. It's not going to improve your control at all. It's just going to change the feel on the ball a little bit. In wet conditions, I didn't really notice it. You don't notice it really as much, which I guess could mean that it is working. But as far as in dry conditions, you're going to notice that somewhat of a gritty feel against the ball, especially if you're using like a newer match ball with that slight dimpling. It seems to stick in your feet ever so slightly, especially from brand new, but I found it to wear away a little bit and become less and less noticeable as you wore the shoe more and more. So again, it's kind of one of those things that you're just going to have to get used to, but once you do, it's something you're not going to notice anymore. Other kind of features on the upper include the pass pad on here, which is going to be the most aggressive of all three models here. Most aggressive on the Maestri, of course, where you have these kind of slightly aggressive, slightly larger pass pad than we've seen on previous CTR 360s. And you have this very slightly abrasive rubber on the instep here, so you're going to notice it a little bit when passing and receiving the ball. You might find yourself getting caught up on the rubber on the inside just a bit. I personally would prefer not having it, but a lot of people do like having that little bit of rubber element, and you can find yourself catching the ball a little bit when you are striking it with the inside of the foot, and some people might like that little bit of extra grip on the ball. To me, it doesn't make too much of a difference, but that's as far as what the CTR360 Maestri 3 has on offer for touch on the ball. And for me, it's probably the best synthetic on the market. Really big fan of it. If you checked out my full written review, you definitely would have kind of got that I really did like this shoe. But as far as the upper on the Trequartista 3, the Trequartista 3
or the Trequartista line as a whole has always been a really solid takedown shoe, even in the Trequartista 1 and 2. But on the 3, it's even more solid considering that you are getting a Kangalite upper. It's not the same Kangalite as the Maestri 3. It's a little bit different. Not as high quality, but still very, very good, especially for a shoe that has a retail of $95. This is probably one of the best takedown models on the market. I've had a lot of questions as well. Should I get the Trequartista 3 or the Maestri 2? Because the Maestri 2 is going on sale now. Definitely go for the Maestri 2. It's a much more solid, much more well-built shoe. Better quality overall, and it's going to fit a little bit nicer. So just to kind of answer that question, that's what I would recommend. But as far as this shoe is concerned, if you really must have this new design, the Trequartista 3 is a really, really great shoe. Probably the best value at $95 and easily the best takedown that I've ever worn. Like I said, the Kangalite is really nice, good quality feel on the ball. And then of course you have the pass pad on the inside as well, which is much less dramatic than the Maestri 3. The rubber is definitely not as abrasive, and you don't have that kind of aggressive dimpling on there, so it's not as noticeable. Like I said, it just provides more of a solid surface when passing and receiving the ball, which to me made very little difference in terms of feel on the ball. But it's nice that they did put it there, and it kind of keeps the whole line similar in terms of feel on the ball, which I think should be the case with a lot of these shoes. Overall though, the Maestri 3 is definitely the best version of this particular shoe rather than the Trequartista 3. But as far as the Libretto 3 is concerned, you're getting a synthetic leather upper, not Kangalite, and honestly the quality of it is not terrible, but it's not high-end by any means. It's kind of one of those layered uppers. For me, it's nothing special at all. You do get the pass pad on the inside as well, which is very similar to the Trequartista, but hardly noticeable. Not something that's going to be have a huge impact on the overall feel of the shoe. Between the three, definitely the Maestri 3 has the best feel, followed by the Trequartista 3, and then the Libretto by far is not even close to the same in terms of quality of touch on the ball. As far as fit is concerned, the Maestri 3 and the Trequartista 3, I must say, have a very, very similar fit. There are some more comfortable elements in the Maestri 3 for sure. You have a memory foam insert in the tongue, which is a little bit better quality. The tongue itself is a little bit nicer as well. You have a suede heel and ankle collar area, which is not only going to be a little bit more comfortable against your foot, but is also going to grip your heel in a little bit better, I found as well. And then of course the fit is, to me, just ever so slightly better, a little bit tighter overall. And of course you have this brand new sole plate from Nike here, which features this brand new it's a much stiffer plastic. It's very thin as well, so it puts you very, very low to the ground. You feel like you're almost just above the cleats without having any kind of stud pressure or anything like that, which I was a really big fan of. Very responsive feel to it, which again, you're only going to get that from the Maestri. As far as the Trequartista is concerned, like I said, it's very similar feel and fit to the Maestri 3, but you don't have all of those extra comfort elements. You do have some foam insert in the tongue here, but it's not a memory foam. It's a much softer foam, and overall doesn't feel as nice on your foot. Then of course you have a synthetic leather heel liner as opposed to the suede, and then you have just a standard plastic sole plate on here, where the Libretto 3 is by far the most chunky of the three shoes. Doesn't have as high end of a fit. Definitely going to be the widest overall, and just a bigger, more roomy toe box, which to me is not a big deal. If you have a wider foot, it's probably going to fit you a little bit better. But if you're looking for that more premium fit and feel, you're going to get it out of the two other shoes rather than the Libretto. Of course, you do have the heel liner in synthetic leather as well, and the sole plate is very, very similar to that of the Trequartista. But as far as insoles are concerned, on the CTR360 Maestri 3, you have an insole minus the pour-on inserts. They've kind of removed that from a lot of their Nike shoes now. And you have a much thinner, it's mainly to keep the weight down on the shoe, but I didn't find any kind of issues with discomfort or anything like that. It seems to be a slightly denser foam than what we've seen from Nike in the past, and overall I had no issues with discomfort. Like I said, the Trequartista has this gray foam thing with the kind of mesh backing on here. Overall, again, I didn't have any issues with discomfort on this particular insole, and overall I prefer the mesh backing as opposed to the synthetic leather backing, and it's not something that's going to bother you, and you shouldn't have any issues. As far as the Libretto 3 insole, it's non-removable, so I have nothing to show you there. But as far as stud patterns are concerned, again, you're kind of going into the same exact thing here. They're all pretty much identical. The only real difference in terms of feel is going to be the Maestri 3 has that stiffer, more responsive, lower to the ground, much thinner sole plate, which I personally really like. But as far as the stud pattern is concerned, you kind of have a stud pattern that feels very similar to the Legends, in my opinion. You have this combination of bladed and conical studs, well, half conical studs if you want to call them that, where you have blades on the outside, and then you have these kind of half moon shaped studs on the inside. And the idea is to provide grip on the outside of the shoe and kind of a quick release on the inside of the shoe, which is where you're going to be pushing off. That's why you have the conical studs on the outside, and that goes all the way through the forefoot and the heel, where the outside studs are all bladed through the heel and forefoot as well. Overall, the stud pattern is pretty good, and like I said, it feels very much like the Legend stud pattern, which I'm personally a really big fan of. And to me, I like this much better than the past CTR360 stud patterns. But that's pretty much it as far as the overall feel of the shoes are concerned. Alright, considering that weight is a very important thing for a lot of people when they're buying soccer shoes, especially with modern soccer shoes, they're getting lighter and lighter. Especially the CTR360 line. It's been this third version, or this third rendition of the CTR360 is definitely the lightest that the line has ever been, with that listed weight of somewhere around 8 ounces for the Maestri. So I'm going to weigh them all here in real time for you guys. Keep in mind these are all used pairs in a size 9.5 US, which I should also mention that these shoes do tend to fit half a size small, so going up half a size is definitely not going to hurt you. I would normally wear a size 9 US in pretty much all the other Nikes, but in this particular shoe I needed a 9.5. So if you are looking to order a pair, I strongly recommend ordering half a size up. But like I said, I'm going to weigh these in real time for you guys, just because the listed weights can vary a little bit and aren't always super accurate. But here's the Maestri. I'm throwing it on the scale right now, and that weighs in at 8.4 ounces, so just about the same as the listed weight. Very lightweight for a shoe of this type. Has that nice comfortable feel, that nice leather feel, very soft on the foot, and for 8.4 ounces is probably one of the most comfortable lightweight shoe on the market, or one of the most comfortable. The Trequartista 3 I have right here. I'm going to put it on the scale for you guys, and that weighs in at 8.8 ounces, so just barely more than the Maestri 3. Not something you're going to notice in your hands, and definitely not something you're going to notice on your feet. And then I'll throw the Libretto 3 on the scale, and that weighs in at 8.7 ounces, so just even a little bit less than the Trequartista 3, but that 0.1 ounces is definitely not something that you're going to notice in your hands, and it's definitely not something you're going to notice on your feet. So the weight between all three of these shoes is very similar. Again, they're fairly lightweight as a whole. I would consider them to be all of them well below average weight for a soccer shoe, which to me is about the 10 ounce mark. But anytime you're below that 9 ounce mark and you're into 8 ounces, for me that's really where a shoe begins to feel nice and lightweight on your foot. And that's kind of a sweet spot for me. Any lighter is not really super necessary, and any more weight is not going to be too detrimental to the overall feel of the shoe. But I feel like that 8 ounce mark is a really good sweet spot for this particular type of shoe, and especially considering it is a synthetic, and they're not going to absorb as much water, and they fit and feel as comfortable as they do. 8 ounces is definitely really solid, and something that you're definitely going to like should you choose to go for a pair of these shoes. Definitely my favorite out of the three would definitely have to be the Maestri. By far the best quality overall, has the nicest feel on the ball, and seems to fit the nicest as well. But just keep in mind that has a $200 retail, where the Trequartista, which for me is not too much far off from the Maestri, has a retail of $95. So you could actually get 2 pairs of Trequartistas for the price of one Maestri 3. So just keep that in mind if you are on a budget, or you're looking to get multiple pairs just to have to wear, pair for practice or a pair for games perhaps. Just, it's going to extend the life of your shoes. If you're playing regularly, having one pair of shoes is really not a good idea. That's where you're going to run into issues with durability, because these shoes really need times to dry. They need a break. They can't just be used every single day over and over again. They're not designed to be kind of roughed up like that. So having an extra pair, even if you get a pair of Maestris and a pair of Trequartistas, it's really going to help in kind of extending the life of both of those shoes. As far as the Libretto is concerned, for me, it's a low-end shoe. It has that look of the CTR360 line, but for me, it's not going to have that same feel. If you really are on a budget and you really need something that's half decent for a really low-end shoe, this is something that you can take a look at, but I feel like you're going to find better options through other sales, or even other models from perhaps some smaller companies out there. But that's pretty much my recommendation between the 3 shoes, guys. Like I said, if you want to check out the full written reviews, including buy it now links on those pages with exclusive coupon codes for SR4A fans to get you guys some additional discounts on these particular shoes, go ahead and check out those review pages. The links will be in the description, like I said. Any questions you guys have related to the video, go ahead and leave a comment down below. And any questions you guys have non-related to the video, go ahead and leave that on my Facebook fan page. There will be a link in the description of that as well. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.